I'm JB Bryan, the President and Chief Investment Officer at JB Bryan Financial Group and the fifth principle of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial management program designed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and all over the world. Indeed, started in 1995. We've been doing this for a minute, y'all. Thank you for your support. Please know that why I do this session Sunday at sunrise is to empower you, empower my family, empower my friends, and empower us that you would be amazed at what you can do. I think that I think that all of you would agree, especially our members and friends that are logged in on the webinar, live webinar side, that it starts your week in such a powerful way. And today's topic is there was a Negro Bible. Yes, the Negro Bible was created. And why do you think that we would have a slave Bible or a Negro Bible? Think about it. Think about using God as a way to keep you down. How powerful is that, right? In addition to, I saw a great article that it's always encouraging when you see that your thoughts, what you're thinking about, it makes sense to someone beyond yourself. And that's why I appreciate AfroEconomics for allowing us to have a larger voice and allowing God to be at the core of Afroeconomics and allowing us to be in a position to make statements that say it's not okay the changes that have been made to a very powerful religion thousands of years ago. But you have to realize, like, the Washington Post ran a great article about how Jesus was painted, and he was painted as a white person, and it was distributed all over the world, way before, you know, probably, I don't know, it could have all happened at the same time. What we have this slave Bible that started in 1807. All of this way before us. But I do know that a whole lot of Black churches at one time had a picture of Jesus drawn not in the description of Jesus, not in the logical description of Jesus, in Africa, in the Middle East, in regions that we know that are in areas of dark-skinned people. So we know that the word said that he had hair like lamb's wool. We know this, and it refers to skin, bronze skin. So we know this. So when I've often wondered, like, why would this happen? I remember a white male friend of mine one day, he was talking politically, and he said, why and how could this person lie so much? And I said, hey, think about it. Jesus wasn't white. The lying started way before anybody that we know in politics today. And he was speechless. But maybe it takes the Washington Post in 2020 to say, like, how did this iconic painting get distributed all over the world? The title of the article is How an Iconic Painting, Jesus, a White Man, is Distributed Around the World. In June 25th, 2020. And the thought that we would be having this discussion today is amazing to me, about a slave Bible. And I just discovered that because that just ran the other day. What's that, 3 days ago? You know, that they would have that in the religious section of the Washington Post. They're wondering too. And I remember posting on my social media that as you bring down these Confederate war heroes that everyone is so angry about, let's go back before that and let's discuss taking down this depiction of Jesus that's not real, because I believe that the treatment of us as a people would be drastically different when the British went around into Haiti, for example, and they saw people that looked like the Jesus that they know from the description. You know, when they went into, you know, when these ships went into Africa and they said, hey, give me as many people as you can that look like the Jesus that we worship, because I want to ruin their lives for generations to come. That wouldn't have happened. But it's easy to oppress, to rape, to abuse, to degenerate, to put down someone that looks nothing like the Son of God. Because in the word it said, I've created even Adam, he said, in my likeness. So if you began to see Adam in the likeness of God, and you knew and you know that he came out of Africa, you would know that when God said his likeness, he created a black man, Adam. And everything that we know today would be different. Everything that we know would be different. And because of this discussion that I put in my tribute last week to the black man, that I was attacked. One racist white man said that I should be hung. That is how powerful the truth is. The truth will knock you off your feet. The truth will break your chains. The truth will set you free. True freedom is in the truth. So if I can lie to you, God forbid, we were lied to. Everybody was lied to. So it created this ugliness that we still deal with today. That man does not know how much he has been robbed of having love in his heart because of the ugly lie that was created outside of his power. Instead of truth being painted, instead of a truth being created, they decided that we're going to paint this picture because, you know, when the Romans, and, you know, when I'm no theologian, but I'm just telling you, these are the things that I've been reading, that the Romans created this. So King James, like all his money, he was able to get this painting and create it. And then he was able to have the money to distribute it. So I'm going to create it. He said, I don't care what the word says. I'm going to make sure that it's made in my image. And see, that's when you mess up. That's when you've created an idol. That's when you have said that I don't care what the word says. I'm going to make sure that it looks like my cousin, somebody I know, somebody I can relate to, so that I can keep slaves in place. And then we go on to have a slave Bible created. So if you see all of these verses in the Bible about empowerment and freedom and how you should be loving, and that God doesn't care about what color you are, he loves you all as you love Christ. That, and you know, even no matter Old Testament or New Testament. But guess which testament they really ripped apart in the slave Bible? They really ripped apart. Guess which testament they said we're going to get it? We're going to get this one. It took out, according to the researchers, now there's only a few of these Bibles all, over the world that are left behind. One has spent time in DC in the new Bible museum, and I don't know if it's still there, but their slave Bible, and they're saying that 90% of the Old Testament was taken out. Because you got those powerful people in the Old Testament saying they're not going to be slaves, saying that you got to take care of each other, and that you're going to, and they say in the Old Testament, you have the movement, the Exodus, that when we began to learn how to read, we were reading the real one. So we started reading like, whoa. And I hope that's how we've been able to stay in the religion of Christianity, because we're reading the entire word, because we're developing our own personal relationship with God. Because when you can't read this word, this rule book that you're following, then you're getting an interpretation from someone else. And so much of the world that we live in, we're not reading it. We're just going through headlines, catching little summaries, choosing a particular station that you watch, and they start developing your mindset. Because if you're never reading all of the details, you don't get the details. So if they were telling the slaves, well, you're supposed to be good to your master, because here's what it says, and you can't even check. You can't check. And the slaves, when you're talking about the slaves in the Bible, you're referring to, in most cases, people who have done something wrong, and they're going to pay for that price for what they did wrong, or they owe some money and things like that, so they have to pay it back. So they're working for this person to pay back something that's owed, even if it's for generations back in their family, but it's for a particular purpose. But when you talk about American Black slaves who were bought in Africa and brought to America to work, it's a totally different situation when you try to justify that as a Christian. And that's when it began to break down, when it became inconvenient. And the British started saying, well, you know what, we're too good for that, and we want to help these people develop a relationship with God. I know that we've used them up, but I got to create this Bible so that I can keep them in control. So I'm going to delete things that will empower you. And a lot of times to this day, y'all, we delete from our life things that will empower us. So the first slave Bible was published in 1807. And that was 3 years after the Haitian Revolution ended. And that Haitian Revolution is the only time that we were able to actually free ourselves out of slavery. And it's because the British came into Haiti, all Black existence, and enslaved them because of their weapons. So this was the only slave revolt in history in which enslaved people successfully drove out their European oppressors and then formed a new nation. And it's seriously, when they saw these Haitians say, this has got to end, they went crazy and they said, I'm scared. We got to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to keep these people in line. They're going to get to your head. So the slave Bible, it doesn't include Moses leading the Israelites to freedom, right? But it includes about Joseph being in Egypt and being, enslaved. that is just like he had to learn to do better, and that's just part of life. Mm. And then, so in the United States, you started, they want to really say, like, this is just something that the British people did, but we know that's not true because we were even worse. At least the British were trying to create a Bible and teach the enslaved people and people that were being freed how to read. And they just wanted to keep them in line. But in America, they said, if you teach them to read, I'm going to kill you. You're going to get in trouble. And a slave that's reading, it's over for you. You're going to mess up. I mean, a penalty of death for learning how to read. And yet we have people who take reading and education for granted. And so the slave Bible was basically their way of controlling us. And that's why you see so many people now, so many of our people now who see Christianity as a white man's religion. And you see them moving away as they advance in their relationship with God and their culture. Too often will move away. Like Malcolm X, when he went into prison, he moved away from his Christian upbringing, and he discovered a religion that he could see as relating to him as a Black man. And we have to realize that we as Christians have to pull our religion back and stop it. Because if you think that it's important to go around and pull down a fake little monument of someone who is totally insignificant, then you know we need to be pulling down all of these fake idol monuments and pictures of Jesus. That is not Jesus. So the entire slave Bible didn't even have the book of Revelations, which was telling about and tells about heaven and earth, and that evil will be punished. And that was the first thing I was telling a member yesterday. We were working on a project, and she has the doctorate in theology. And I was telling her that in the slave Bible, because she was saying that in her school and studying theology, that in her school, they didn't study. They didn't even talk about the slave Bible. Now that's scary. That is scary because most of the writing that I see about the slave Bible, that I have researched this, it's not from us. And then that Bible museum, that's not a Black museum. And I wonder if the Black History Museum has the slave Bible in it. Like, they should be talking to them about, can we get the slave Bible over here after y'all, how things are supposed to move from museum to museum. Like, because a lot more of us will see it in the Black History Museum than in the Bible Museum, because that's like a little teeny bit of that museum. But powerfully, they have it in there, and that's the powerful part. They really go to say how the Bible has been used for wrong, and how the impact of taking such a powerful word and using it to kill, steal, and destroy can impact generations if we don't stop it right now. We have to stop it right now. So let's look at, I want to look at just some empowering things that we should be thinking about. And before that's going to be what I want us to pull out of this. Just focusing on what would they not want to be in there. And that's what we want to make sure that we put into our life. That's what would, if you were to destroy the Bible, like what would you take out? What would you take out? 90% of the Old Testament is missing, according to the information that has been given because we can't get to it. And 50% of the New Testament is missing. 50%. So there's basically 1,200 chapters in the basic Bible. But you know, the Bible, which is amazing to me, is that the Bible that we read is a broken down version of the Bible, because the Catholics read a bigger Bible than the Bible that Protestants read, which is interesting. And this is why I'm saying we have to make sure that we have that relationship with God. You gotta know they knew they were wrong. So 1,200 chapters in the standard Protestant Bible, but the slave Bible, the Negro Bible, contained only 232 chapters. Whoa. From 1,200 to 232. So that means the overwhelming majority of the Bible is about our empowerment. So they removed things like Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, where there is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Jesus Christ. Gone. But they kept, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fearing and trembling, in singleness of your heart, as unto Christ. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 5. So we kept that. Be obedient. And that's according to the flesh, with fear and trembling. I can rape you. How sick is that? You're going to use the word that with singleness of your heart, as unto Christ. And you leave that in. But you're going to take out that you cannot be treating me this way. So according to the history, the British missionaries that wanted to help more Black people develop a relationship with God the way they wanted to control it, had to create this version of the Bible. So and then of the books of the Bible, that slave Bible with the 200 plus chapters only has 14 books of the Bible in those over 200. Where like, and this is where I found it, like in the Roman Catholic Bible. Now the Bible that is in the United States, the Protestant edition, is 66 books. The Roman Catholic version has 73 books. The Eastern Orthodox translation has 78 books. And the slave Bible had 14 books. Whoa. But we're using 66, so that's interesting too. I wonder what's in, the other parts. So we have to continue to study and continue to see, because we might find out 100 years from now that what we're reading is actually designed to control us as well, because these other parts have been ripped out. Also took out like this, Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 13. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that useth his neighbor's servant without wages, and giveth him not for his work. Gone, not in the slave Bible. It says you cannot build your house on unrighteousness, and you do not use a servant without paying wages. So then look at this. Gone. This is gone. This is not, never was it preached to a slave. Exodus chapter 21, verse 16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. Was all of it was taken out. Look, they will want to, but look, every time, like you see, like Nat Turner, or did you watch the video that I sent in the invitation about the 1811 rebellion in Louisiana? You know, I mean, they took those slaves that rebelled, or you're saying, and Nat Turner, they're saying, I'd rather die than to be your slave. Before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. I mean, seriously, y'all, we think that we want to believe. I mean, Kanye West, seriously, have you ever listened to that song? Have you ever read your history where Kanye West kind of wants to present this little happy slave, that this woman, like with this whole Thomas Jefferson thing, to the whole family? Do you really think that your great 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 grandma really wanted that old man raping her all the time, taking her everywhere, she cleaning up behind him and his wife all the time for nothing, and then you're enslaving her children? Do you really think that's what she wanted, and we want to celebrate that? We gotta wake up. We have to wake up. I know that it's nice and you want to say that, but but there's Thomas Jefferson died broke. There's nothing that you can get out of it. I mean, why would you say that a slave, that even today, if you have a supervisor who is overuse of force in the workplace, coming in sexually harassing you and everything, I mean, why would I not give my grandmother, great 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 grandmother, the benefit of the doubt that he raped her, that she did not want to do that? Why is it that important to me to think that that would be like saying to everyone who says they have sexual harassment that they're lying, that their supervisor didn't. I mean, and this is not a supervisor. This person owns you. You never get to go home. You eat, sleep. No, Sally Hemings did not willingly have sex with Thomas Jefferson. I don't care what you great, 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 and the next generation say about it. I'm going to stand up for her. No, you can't own me and think that I'm making love to you. No, that's sick. That is just crazy. So but if he was reading to her out of the word that he's eliminated, and he's not going to read, she can't even read, and it says, look, you want God to love you, you've got to do this for me. This is what you're supposed to do. So he's not going to read this to Sally, like in Matthew chapter 6, verse 31 through 34. So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Because then if she said that, if she knew that God was going to take care of what she ate, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear, for the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need him. But seek first his kingdom and righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, Sally. You can get out of here today. For tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. See, that was the mindset of Harriet Tubman. I ain't worried. I'm getting out of here. And in her movie, in the Harriet Tubman, this recent movie, they also tried to kind of glorify her relationship, with the slave master. And then they had the only person in the movie, and we don't have any evidence of this being true, that killed someone in the movie was the black man that they used and said that he came in there and stomped her best friend that was the abolitionist, that was a free black woman, to death. But she shows mercy on this little boy that has been owning her. They basically gave her to him. And they never even in the movie say that he has been raping her. But we know that. And it's just sick. That is sick that what they're doing in your mind now today is to say to you that I know it's wrong, but you all were going around hunting y'all down and then stomping them to death for no reason. He just stomped the lady to death in her house for no reason. And we have no evidence, but it's important for you to put it in that movie. And you think that you're not being misled now? That's why the man got so mad when I said, let's hold our brothers up in high esteem. Let's stop watching things that pull us and our men down. Let's control. As I was saying to a brother, Color Purple. He was saying that he and his son were going on a school trip and they were watching Color Purple. Now there's a black man and a little boy watching Color Purple on a public school trip. That's not no Black history movie. That's disgusting. I don't think that you and your son should be watching that. They should be more conscious of what they're watching. I mean, that is, what in the world? On their way to the Black History Museum, as if the Color Purple is Black history. That's adult entertainment if they find that entertaining. But it is not Black history. Moses, my servant, is dead. This is scripture from Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 through 9. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land, and I am about to give to them to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon. Now, all this is left out, because if you read this, you will move forward. You won't be afraid to start your own business. You'll be an employer and not just an employee. You will create opportunities. You will find opportunities and not just jobs. And for the great river, the Iphites, all the Hittite country, to the great sea on the west, no one will be able to stand up against you all the days of your life. No one will be able to stand up. Now, if you have that in your mindset, that's what you got to walk with every day. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their forefathers to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 through 9, because when they get you scared, that's when you lose your power. That's when we mess up. I thought to myself, now, why would a man come on a woman's Facebook page and tell her that she should be hung? Because it's important to him to scare me. He want to scare the God out of me. You want to scare the God out of me. God owns me. And if the thought of that, you messed yourself up. And there was an ugly lady. She said ugly things to me because I was praising the black man, holding him up, and she just mad about it. And I said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. They were probably mad because I wasn't fussing back at them, And then the brothers united around me and were just like, why can't this woman just do her job? She's just focusing on financially empowering our people. Well, that's the problem. If you are racist, you are going to pull empowerment out of the book. You are going to pull down anything that is helping a group of people who you feel God doesn't love, because the picture that was created in your mind doesn't show him. And that's how powerful it is. That's how degrading it is when you create a picture of Jesus that is not real. You shouldn't. In Islam, they will not even allow you to create a picture of Muhammad, because that's how powerful a picture is. Our mind is so powerful. That's why they had to rip the Bible apart and break it down, because so much of God's word is to empower you to be free and to know that God is your source. If you worship your master, which now could be your job, and you worship your employer, and you feel that you can't speak truth because of your job, so you can't celebrate your relationship with God because you're afraid of your job, when he said you don't need to worry about clothes or a house or shoes or any of that. Speak truth. Celebrate me. Let me love you. Let me set you free. I take care of this. I take care of this. But he can't take us higher, because you got to believe first. So freedom. To the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teachings, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. That's in John chapter 8, verse 32 through 33. This is the word. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17. Now, that's where our freedom is in our relationship with God, not in how many material items you can buy because you're selling your soul to something you know is wrong. See, everything for us will change when we know our freedom is, when we know that our measure of success is not according to, well, white people got this, as someone told me last week. Well, you know, they exploiting the system, so why can't I? And I said, well, I have yet to see a black person exploit the system and win. It don't happen. I love that in that scene in the movie, where 50 Cent movie, where it's like, Get Rich or Die Trying, where he shows that of all of the years of dealing drugs, when he broke it down after jail time, he made less than minimum wage. You can't think about the 2 years where you made phenomenal money. You know, that's why they make the movie about the 2, the 3, even 10 years of all this money, and then you spend the rest of your life locked up. No, break it down. Break it down. I was telling someone yesterday, even in a regular job, you know, if you're not where you should be because you have bound yourself, because you have ripped out, and you're still reading from the slave Bible, you're not going to be free. There are people still reading from the slave Bible, even though you got all of the chapters available to read, even though you know how to read. By this we know love, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brothers. But if anyone has the world's goods and sees his brother in need, yet closes his heart against him, how does God's love abide in him? Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. And that's in 1 John chapter 3, verse 16 through 18. Let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth. So if you love me, you need to be speaking truth. You need to be speaking truth. That's what we need. Don't be just telling me that this is horrible, what happened, this ain't right, making these little stories and, and then, so that you can do this video and show all this stuff and, just word and talk. But when is the last time you said, you know what, that's not fair? Because I've been in the middle of a store, only Black, being treated unfairly, and not one person around me stood up for me. That's what God wants. That's what God is saying. Don't go home and talk about like that ain't right. They know Jamal should have got that promotion and they gave it to me. They know that. And oh no, but see what happened was God gave you that test because he wanted you to know you don't really love him. You don't really love truth, because that kind of action is the one who would allow Jesus to be killed. Everything that Jesus stands for gets stabbed and killed again when you don't stand up for truth, because Jesus was revolutionary. He laid down his life for us. I will lay down every day of my God-given life to represent truth without compromise, only purely because of my relationship with God. Because I know I cannot depend on you. I cannot depend on you. But I know that I can depend on God. I know that. I know that. God's got the nerve and he gives it to me. God's got the humility and he gives it to me. God's got everything that I need and he gives it to me. And he gives it to Selena, and he gives it to Synethia, and he gives it to Cynthia too, and Chastity too, and Mr. Smith too, and Ms. Walton. He gives us everything we need. So we got to get our heart straight and stop reading from the slave Bible and read the word that God is putting to you. Read it. Read the word that God gave you and search for more. Let's go beyond it. Let's go out there. Like I created my own Declaration of Independence for us in AfroEconomics, Declaration of Independence, because the Declaration of Independence that we have wasn't written for our Declaration of Independence. So we need to have that. So if God gives you a message, I need you to share it. If God gives you, an opportunity, some insight, I need you to share it. It's, too much. It's too selfish. Show me some love with your truth. Show me some love with your truth. Indeed. Thank you all so much. I'm going to read some of y'all comments right now. My girl, Twyla, you've been going at it. Yes. Yes. She said, right? The synonymous with American history being misrepresented. It's hard when I go back, but yes, a lot of our history has been misrepresented. That was Citrina, yes. And I'm sorry, but it brings the whole name together. And then Twyla said the Arabs enslaved us first. They must have been enslaving the Africans, right? I mean, slavery is all over the word. And then they didn't teach us. No, and you went to seminary. Yep, they didn't. I know this. That's what the other lady said. They didn't talk about the Black Bible in seminary. But it's really important, because if you went to a Black seminary, you're really missing a lot, because it gives you a better understanding of how our relationship with God. And it gives you a better understanding of why so many of our people have moved away from Christianity, because they see it as, if I follow that, I'm not giving honor to my Blackness, when that's not the truth. It's just that you were robbed of your relationship with your Blackness, because the Bible is Black history. Black people are all over the Bible. I mean, just Google that. The Bible is Black history. Great book. You know, there are indeed. And then, wow. I mean, look at this. Twyla has a lot. I hope that, did you share that with everybody? Yes. Y'all make sure that you're looking at that. And this, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls. She's saying there's so much that has been left out. And there's a, when I was in fellowship, and then and she has a lot. That's okay. And then she's encouraging us to continue to read. Yes, indeed. The E.T. Sapphire. Yes, I love it. Y'all got to come in and make sure that you register for the event so you can see all of these things. Oh, remember when I was talking about the character in the Harriet Tubman movie? Well, Twyla is saying that that character never existed. Isn't that sad? And neither did the best friend. Isn't that crazy? That's why you didn't watch the movie. Good for you. But you know that that movie, I couldn't watch it. It's the one about Madam C.J. Walker. I think it was about her with and they were saying that the women were going through a light-skinned, dark-skinned war, and they have no proof of that. They said that that did not happen. And in the movie, they even like put them in a boxing ring, you know, and were saying that they were like really battling it out, you know, and it was like, no, that they actually supported each other in business. That's so sad. And then, yeah, Black men are not armed and do not act as slave catchers. Exactly. Oh, the Black men were not armed. I know that guy had a gun riding along. He was like, they almost like made it look like he was the boss. That was amazing with the gun. I can't see that either. Like just riding along, you know, with a pistol, and they might have given it to him when they said protect me, but it was like that guy. Oh, we got to be careful what is presented as our history, because they are combining fiction, so and then making it and putting it into truth. So then that makes it together. It's a lie. You can't take my truth and add untruth to it and think that I still have truth. You know, so you need to say at the beginning, I added to this. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Valron. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Somebody, Madam C.J. Walker stole the product from Annie Malone. She learned from her. Annie started the first beauty college for Negroes. Madam C.J. improved by taking out the smell. I know, and look, and then it still, some of it still has smell. Isn't that something? But I'm gonna tell you that we should really learn as much about our truth as possible, because as you see, we're both all learning, but I'm going to tell you, we got to read for ourselves. We got to read for ourselves. We got to be empowered for ourselves. We got to know what we need to know. And first of all, go straight to God. There's nothing in between. Nothing in between. God is talking directly to you. Now, you know, a lot of people would say, don't even listen to anybody unless they have a doctorate in theology, you know. And then seriously, you might think that you might think to have that type of criteria, but thank God that God doesn't. God doesn't. God's not like that. So if God doesn't require that of who He chooses to serve Him, you know, then why do you think that we have to have such high criteria of who has a relationship, the close relationship with God? You minister to yourself. You can impact the world. You can. That's why I said having a biblical degree is nice. Indeed it is. But the Holy Ghost must be in you. That's right. That's right. Because there's a whole bunch of people who have biblical advanced degrees and ripped the Bible apart, have exploited people using the word, have raped generations by using the word, have destroyed families using the word, have stolen people's money using the word. You better know the word. Yes, indeed. It's, you know, whatever language you speak, you know, you got to know your relationship with God. And if it feels wrong, that's all you need to know. Don't do it. Don't do it. Nobody need to tell you. Nobody would need to tell me that, you know, enslaving people, not compensating, you know what I mean, these people for years and years and years, you know, that I gotta, you know, like only focus on that. I gotta do that because I gotta make this money and I gotta get rich and I gotta focus on my generational wealth. And it doesn't matter who I harm along the way, you know, stay close to God, even in your own workplace. You see something going wrong. When I was in corporate America, that's how I had to get out. I would see them exploit Black people on the daily. And the people would reach out to me after they got dogged out and then want me to stand up for them against a coworker. And you know what I did? I did it. Of course, I better. And it's amazing to me how many people will find allegiance to a system that's bad instead of standing up for what you know is wrong. It's really sad. So, you know, if you're in a situation, God has you in that situation to protect someone, to stand by what's right, not to assist what's wrong and make it bigger. So do the right thing. Do the right thing. And a lot of times, most of the time, doing the right thing is not doing what's popular. It's just doing the right thing. Like Jesus was a revolutionary. He was not like the kind of guy that all the women were going around saying, I want my daughter to marry him. You know, that's probably why he died single, because he was coming with something new. He was coming saying, you don't treat people like that. He was coming saying, everybody has an opportunity to get a relationship with God. And when you're coming with something new that says God loves everybody, even today, some people don't want to hear it. So, but dare to be revolutionary. Dare to love yourself, and dare to teach everyone who passes your way to love themselves. We deserve it. We deserve it. God loves you, so do I. I do. Have a wonderful week. That was the black, the that was the black truth. Hashtag black truth. I am JB Bryan, President and Chief Investment Officer of JB Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of AfroEconomics, a strategic financial management program designed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and abroad. And the fifth principle of Afroeconomics is including God in every aspect of our life. Every aspect. Don't leave him out when it comes to our financial decisions.